Mark!
Golf clap.
Yeah, I thinking about that the other day when I was in edit. Mm-hmm. I should just do Mark. I mean, that's what they do.
That's
Mark,
what you should do.
Mark. Anyway.
Sound rolling and Mark.
Speed. Hello and welcome to another episode of Streaming Without a Paddle. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ted.
This week, Ted and I took on HBO Max's remake of Salem's Lot, the Stephen King thriller. It's his first book he ever wrote.
Is it?
I think so.
I thought it was Cujo.
Cujo? I'm not a Stephen King man.
I think it's Cujo. Don't.
Nobody quote me on that.
It's very possible.
Look, you're going for the phone and you got an iPad right there.
I know, but then
it's
okay. Do you want me to look it up on the iPad? Okay.
You're going to have to do that anyway.
Stephen King. Are you doing it already?
Well, I'm spelling his name wrong. I'm spelling it like normal Stevens do.
Let me add this. Stephen King's first book.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting a pen out. I mean, goodness gracious.
Nope, that's not going to work.
Anyway, no, I think it's dead.
Stephen King. This is good for the listener.
All right, yeah, Stephen King. Salem's Lot, sorry.
Is it?
Wait, no, hold on.
Carrie was his first book.
Carrie?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, so
Salem's Lot was early, though, because Carrie was...
Early.
Carrie was 74. This miniseries, the original miniseries, came out in 79 because I watched it after I watched this.
Uh-huh.
So that means he probably wrote this in like 75 or 76, conservatively.
Okay.
I mean, I can find out, but...
Yeah. Anyway, Stephen King, Salem Lot. This is, I guess, the second remake, or the second version. It's a remake.
Well, there's the miniseries, and then they did a remake.
Well, I mean,
in
feature.
2004.
Feature.
Second feature. They made one in 75. This was the second book he wrote, Salem's Lot.
Okay, the first one was Carrie. Mm-hmm. I was close. When was Cujo?
It's 82 was the movie, so it's probably closer.
Let's see here.
Anyway.
Carrie, Salem's Lot, Rage, The Shining, Night Shift, The Stand, The Long Walk, The Dead Zone, Firestarter, The Mist, Denise McBride, Roadwork, Cujo, 81.
Man, that is a murderer's row of alcoholic cocaine binged books. Like, Stephen King, why were your first 15 books so good? Well, I was doing a steady diet of cocaine and booze.
Again, the opinions of Ted are not necessarily those of the manager.
Just see him locked in a room listening to the loudest, like the Stooges, as loud as it can go, just drinking.
I've never have been a Stephen King fan. I'm not a horror guy. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Least favorite month.
So it is. It don't scare me. I'm a sensitive child.
I didn't think this was scary at all. I just thought it was good.
All right, so I'm not going into the here real quick. Salem's Lot, if you're not familiar, because I wasn't familiar. I didn't see the first version of this. I didn't watch the miniseries. I had no idea about this movie. So, in a nutshell, what it is there's this hometown, or this town, and it's referred to as Salem's Lot. And this young man was raised there till 9, moved away, and now he's come back, and he's a famous writer. Oh, wonder who that could be, right? So anyway, he's there doing research for his next book, and they really don't say what that is, what his next book is, but we know what it turns into. And so at the same time, or just a little bit before that, this troop of this guy, Richard, what was the character's name? Richard
Stryker.
Stryker, played by, and I'm going to get that name.
I'll do it.
Yeah, do it.
Pilu Asbæk.
Okay, you'll know him if you're a Game of Thrones fan like myself. You will know him from Game of Thrones. He was the brother of Theon. Theon's brother, and I forget the sister's name. So anyway, there
You know how
there
I
you
know
go.
he was on. You know how I know he was on that show because every scene he was in this movie, he was chewing the scenery. It's like, tell me you're like one of these dorky medieval actors. Like, I mean, come on.
And he's not in this movie a lot, but he's
Good.
He's there. He's there. Anyway, he is the caretaker of the vampire.
Danish actor.
Yeah, and so anyway, he moves to this town. They buy this house that nobody wants, and the vampire he's in there, and I'm just guessing it's Derek Mears who plays the vampire.
You know who that is?
The vampire?
No, Derek Mears. You know who that is?
He looks familiar.
He is Jason when they remade Friday the 13th back in 2006 or 7.
So do you think I'm right on the vampire thing? He's probably portraying the vampire in this movie?
I don't know because
don't
he is
know.
a giant human being, and I don't know that we ever got
No, because the vampire wasn't that big.
That's a
was
great
great.
question. It was a great vampire.
Great
And you know
vampire.
what's good about it? The direction here, barely seen. It makes it scarier.
Yeah, right.
You barely see him. I don't know.
A lot
what
of
he
shadow figure, shadowing on them, and no, it was scary. It was just get there. But anyway, they moved to this town and Salem's Lot, and they're trying to establish themselves there. If you can.
Antique dealers.
Yes, you can say that, and so they're in the process of converting Salem's Lot into a town of nothing but vampires, right?
Yes.
So that's the objective, and Lewis Pullman, who
No, he did.
he's
He did play Hubert Marston.
okay.
I don't know what he. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
For me and the listeners, who's Hubert?
Derek Marsden.
No, Derek. Mears.
Derek Mears did play Hubie Marsden. I think he did play the vampire.
He played the vampire. Okay, I mean they look like it.
Isn't
I
it
mean,
the vampire?
I can see that facial structure and makeup being the vampire. But anyway, Lewis Pullman's in this. He stars in this along with Mackenzie Lee and Bill Camp the three Alfre Woodard. She's
great.
She's great.
She's
also
so
kind of a
great.
co-star there too. And you know who doesn't like a good drunk
Oh, hold on.
priest?
He plays the hitman at the beginning. That's who Derek Mears is. He's that when they're doing the opening sequence with the hitman, the Hubie Marsden. That's the hitman. That's who he plays. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry everybody.
No, yeah. And so anyway, the town basically turned into vampires except for Lewis Pullman and Jordan Preston. Nice young actor, did a great job. So the two of them,
Fight.
That's it. That they're the Salem's Lot's last hope.
He is my favorite character, the Jordan Preston guy.
So he was great.
He was great.
He was great in this movie.
And
He
I-
really was.
I watched a movie with Lewis Pullman, and I don't know if something has happened. I watched a movie. He did
He did Maverick. He was Bob.
no, I know who he was.
He was Bob.
But in 2017, he did the sequel to The Strangers. And he didn't do this in that movie, but now every scene in this movie, he was talking like he had a dip in his mouth. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you bring your game to whatever you're doing. Yeah, the strangers pray at night. Is that what you're talking about?
Not very good movie.
2018. Yeah,
But Lewis Pullman was very watchable. I liked him in this.
yeah. He the late Bill Pullman's son.
He's not dead.
Who died?
I don't know. Not Bill Pullman.
You sure?
Well, now that I have this computer, I mean, I can find out.
I mean, I think.
Pretty sure Bill Pullman's alive and kicking.
Do you?
Bill Paxton died.
Oh, Bill. That's who I'm thinking. All right.
Yeah, Bill Pullman is
He's
alive and well.
He can revel in his son's success because he's getting there. He really is. Anyway, as our listeners know, this is not my jam. To use the hip vernacular, horror. This is not a genre I speak of. So, when it comes to scoring this movie, I'm going to be a little skewed because I will give this my opinion on the technicality of this movie as opposed to the enjoyment of watching, because I'm not going to lie, I did not find this very enjoyable.
Okay.
I mean, because I was scared. I mean, it scared me.
It got you?
It scared me. I mean, I'm not built for this kind of tomfoolery. I'm not. You know.
You didn't. It wasn't your thing.
No, it's not. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Okay.
So that's the direction I go. But I would have to say, and I was asking myself, like I do whenever I watch a movie, would I like to be on the crew of this movie? And I think I would have.
Yeah, it looked great.
Because I can separate the fact that, it's not, when you're making a movie like this, it's not scary. You're in there, you're doing a job, and, you see the creatures, and, but it's not scary per se, because the action part of it, you're in and out of set, and you're not, that's not your job, or at least it wouldn't be my job to watch that kind of thing. So I think this would have been a fun movie to make because of the location. It's kind of remote. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and which that, when you're not shooting in a big city or something, when you're out remotely and you got a little leniency on things you can do and you can't do, that's enjoyable.
Shooting in the city sucks.
So yeah,
it's not that fun.
No, it's not.
Like, honestly, for everybody,
Right.
It's much easier to be shooting out in some little town in the middle of wherever.
Right.
If you're shooting in New York City, it is just such a cluster of just so many things to do.
Well, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's the people. When you get a lot of people, the more people you get, the least likely you are to go through and appease everybody, or at least not piss somebody off to the point that they're going to ruin your day, so to speak. We were watching one of those movies, I forget what it was, way back in our first year of the podcast, and it was a period piece. And they were shooting on a street, and there was that one car that was...
Didn't fit?
No, it didn't fit. And, I get it. I understand. That guy was the a-hole. He didn't know. I live here.
Hey, I'm not moving my car. You move my car.
Yeah,
you want to pay for my
exactly,
car to be
right.
moved, then you come get it done, okay?
Yeah, and I think that's where that's the part of country or town, the city they were in.
Where they're at, which looks to be like, I don't know where they filmed. I bet you $100 it's Canada somewhere.
You think so?
I mean, maybe not. I'm looking up where they shot. They might have shot in Maine. It looked like Maine.
It was great, but I would have wanted to been on this crew. This would have been fun. I really do.
Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Ipswich, Massachusetts.
There you go. And in that where Salem's lot supposed to?
No, it's supposed to be in Maine.
Maine?
Stowe, Massachusetts, Boston, okay. New England studios. Well, good on them. They shot in Massachusetts. I love that.
I do too. That's great. So anyway, the closest thing we've watched recently to this was earlier this year. We watched Abigail, another vampire movie.
Yeah, but Abigail was fun. This is not. This is dark.
You're reading my mind. This is where I'm going. There's no humor in this movie, and that's what made Abigail. Because if you're one of those listeners out there that's keeping score, and you go, well, he gave Abigail whatever it was, is 78, and
he likes Abigail.
It was because there was enough mixture of humor in Abigail to subside the horror of it all.
Yeah.
There is no humor in this movie whatsoever. I mean, I'm going to give the opening here, basically. I mean, it's not a spoiler. Two guys are delivering the coffin of the Dracula vampire to this house up on a hill, and they're putting it in the cellar of this place. Yeah, and they're doing it at midnight. Nobody makes a delivery like that at midnight, okay? So I knew at this moment I was in trouble. I was in trouble from the get-go in this movie, and it never really subsided.
I was surprised they stopped where they did with that scene. The cold open, basically. I was surprised they stopped. When that guy popped down and he goes, and this is not ruining anything, when he pops down and he goes, hey, you don't want to know what's in there. And they leave. I was surprised.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. I was, yeah.
It's a technically well-written, well-directed movie. All the beats are there. The scary parts are there. It looks great. The performances are good.
Totally.
I think it's really, like,
thing.
if you don't like horror, it's still an extremely well-done movie.
Technically.
This
was a good movie.
Yes.
There was nothing about it I didn't, from a technical standpoint, I didn't like. I like the writing. I like the direction. I love the sets. I love the. That was it.
Bill Camp was great.
Bill Camp was a scene stealer.
The only thing I would say is the Father Callahan,
yeah,
didn't have enough to do. It felt like he was in two scenes and they shoehorned, because he's in the original doing the same thing, but they shoehorned.
Oh, is he in the
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, not him, but like the character does the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, they just, it's a remake.
Yeah.
But no, John Benjamin played Father Callahan, the drunk priest, the alcoholic priest.
Yeah.
So anyway, a man who's lost his faith.
Yeah.
So
they were all pretty good.
Yeah, no question here. All right, Ted, let's get you some numbers on this. I mean, I can lead. Technically, this movie was in '82. From an entertainment standpoint, I'm a 68 on it.
Technically, I'm gonna say 85, because I thought it was pretty. I mean, the monsters were done really well. It was extremely well directed, is what I would say.
Yeah.
And then I'd say 85, and then I'd say as a horror movie overall, like as a movie, I'm gonna give it like a 78. And I enjoy horror more than you.
Well, you watched it twice.
I watched it twice. At least
you professed to me that you.
No, I did watch it twice.
You're about to watch it.
I watched it. I made Paige watch it.
It was,
I was like,
and
she was bored.
She was bored.
She didn't think it was scary at all.
Oh my! All right.
It's hard to be scared when you're staring at your phone ordering things.
Paige is weird if she didn't find this scary. Did you find this scary?
I found parts of it scary. To be honest, vampires don't scare me very much. The only ones that ever did is there was this show that Guillermo del Toro did called The Strain. And they were so disgusting. Like, their jaws opened up and they spit out tentacles that they grossed me out.
Yeah, it scared you.
And that scared me a little. But normal, these vampires that that aren't even that strong or anything, like, they're just like people, except for the one main guy. Right?
I feel like I'm talking to a mechanic here. I mean, Ted's the equal of me talking to a mechanic about the functionality of and performance of like a Corvette. Ted's got this horror movie stuff down.
I just think in a horror movie, if these
why don't you make more horror movies? I mean, you really enjoy them.
I love them, but man, what I write are like people walking around talking about stuff. Like, hey, let's talk about how this silly thing that we did this one time, but also let's get in our feelings about it. That's what I write. I don't know.
No.
But I mean, like, I have told myself I'm going to write a horror movie this year because I'm like, you like them too much.
You do. So. Not me, but I could have worked on this movie just for the fact that it seemed like it would have been a fun shoot. I mean, not like, woohoo, fun.
It would have been fun.
It would have been an enjoyable shoot because you could see that there was a process, there was a daily goal, and the scenes were exciting to make. Right? They were. I think you get when you're delivering a suspense scene, there's a sense that comes over the set.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that just, when it's over, you've nailed it. You got it, So anyway, all right, I'm an 82 on technicality, a 68 when it comes to entertainment value. And Ted, I forget. Well, you said 85.
I said 85 technically and 78 overall.
Overall, and I preferred Abigail much more than this.
I know you do.
Now I'm just going to get to the meeting because this is I don't, I don't give it a lot of faith. When I was doing my post-watch here, I was like, do people really enjoy this?
Yeah.
And, well, I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and, your first read is 46% here. And then when you break it down, it was actually the critics that had a higher score than the people meter.
Maybe
on this.
I'm in the minority and
Page. They gave the people meter gave it a 40. Now, IMDb gave it, I think, a 5.1, was it?
Which is pretty high for IMDb.
I mean, yeah, so 5.7, excuse me. And and then I pulled up because, well, I enjoyed Abigail. And on Rotten Tomatoes, 83 from the critics and 84 from the people meter. So I felt a little redemption.
Vindicated?
Yeah, I just like, okay, when it comes to horror, I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You're on point.
I know my crap.
I love this book, and I love the original, so I'm probably partial to it.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to it for months.
I mean, I don't get it. There's a different breed out there that just subscribes to the horror genre.
I'm going to see Terrifier 3
and,
on Friday night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to a movie theater to see Terrifier 3. People have been throwing up and passing out at screenings.
I'm searching for a romantic comedy for us to watch next after this. So, and by the way, I did not watch this movie at night. I watched it during the day. At midday.
Midday, like during lunch?
Yeah, I did. I put it on, and I was like, all right, I'm going to knock this bad boy out, but I'm not doing it at night.
This is nothing.
It's Stephen King. I knew that much going into it, and Ted loved it. Already told me that he did. And so I'm like, nope, this is not happening after the sun goes down. But anyway. All right, everybody, we appreciate you listening to Streaming Without a Paddle. Until next week, I'm going to be Andrew.
I'll always be Ted.